An armed robbery ended with two suspects shot by a rideshare driver that they're accused of targeting. This happened near 15th and Millard in Chicago's Lawndale neighborhood. Officers tell us the 26-year-old driver was dropping off a customer when a man and woman walked up and announced a robbery. The man took the driver's cell phone, then fired shots while running away. That's when the driver returned fire, hitting both robbers. Both suspects are expected to recover. That rideshare driver was not hurt. Police say he did have a concealed carry license.
At this point, with the way things are going right now, if you're an Uber driver, a Lyft driver, whatever driving services any of you are part of, it's probably time to start considering carrying a gun while you're doing this. Yeah, I know Uber and all the other rest of these companies have policies against their drivers carrying firearms, but at the end of the day, those policies are designed to protect the company, not you. And as far as I'm concerned, your life is more important than your job. And as you can see, more and more these types of robberies are happening to Uber and Lyft drivers. So you really don't have to have a choice in the matter at this point. The crazy thing is this popular notion that a lot of pacifists have with the idea of just give them what the robbers want and you'll be fine. As you can see more and more, it's trending towards not that being the case. You have this situation here where he gave him his phone and they still started shooting at him. People have to understand that, especially now, to criminals and robbers, life is cheap. They don't care anymore. And a lot of these robbers are so young and so dumb and so hopped up on imagery that they see online and whatever drugs that they're doing. For a lot of them, they just want to feel the thrill of what it's like to shoot their gun or take a life at that. So you can't depend on this notion that if you're super passive and you do everything that the robber wants, that they're going to not try to kill you after the fact. That's why you have to put yourself in the best position to protect yourself against those robbers. What's also happening more and more is you're starting to see it be 2, 3, 4 people instead of just one individual person. There's this antiquated idea, this notion that anytime that there's a robber, it's always going to be this one person with a single shot revolver of some sort. No, now they're grouping up and doing these things in mass. So this idea that if we limit magazine capacity, it will limit the good people's ability to carry more rounds in their gun, that somehow helps them. It not only not helps them, it puts them in the worst position possible. Because if you do run into the type of person who's willing to stand and continue fighting it out with you, you do not know the dread and irony that you will feel when you're in a situation where you've done everything right, you've got to your gun, you've pulled your gun, and now you're fighting with this person and you run out of ammo before they do and they end up killing you. You don't know what that's like. I don't know what that's like, but I can tell you from my mindset and my understanding and from putting myself in a situation like that, it is the most dreadful thought in the world because you had everything possible to protect yourself, but the government told you you had to limit your ability because what? Gun control? Quiet as kept, one of my biggest fears is having to protect myself while I'm inside of my car, because as far as I'm concerned, a car is a coffin once bullets start flying. Most people have this misconception that cars can stop bullets. There are very, very few places on a car that can stop a bullet. The engine block and maybe the tires. Other than that, it is a bullet magnet. And everywhere in that car that gets shot, a bullet will go through it. So I've always had this thing about making sure that I'm in the best position possible to protect myself while I'm in my car and learning to draw and get to my gun as fast as possible while I'm in my car, because you're never more vulnerable than when you are in your car when it comes to defending yourself with a gun against another person with a gun. Long story short, like the days of you don't have to really worry about crime unless you live in this certain part of town, and you don't have to worry about crime if you're not being flashy or carrying this or have this on you. Those days are gone. The way things are going with our economy and the way that a lot of these politicians are implementing these stupid policies in these larger cities, it's a free-for-all. Any and everybody can get it. No one is safe. It doesn't matter who or what you are. They tried to rob this dude of his cell phone. He wasn't driving in a Lamborghini. He wasn't driving in a BMW. He was in a regular car, and they still tried to rob him. He's not even doing a job that is traditionally known for having a lot of cash on them, and they still try to rob them. And that's because a lot of these criminals now, they're desperate. All the PP loan money is dried up. All of the money the government was handing up is dried up. And guess what it's created? A lot of people who don't want to go back to the lifestyle that they had before. So now what are they doing? They're running and hitting licks. And anybody is a target because anybody that has more than they do is a viable option to them. So please understand this. You may think you're safe because you live in a nice neighborhood. You may think you're safe because you're in a nice area of the town. But one thing that you don't account for is that when things in the worst parts of the city start getting so bad that everybody's hurting, guess where the crimes start matriculating to? To the places where people have money or the perception of having money. And that starts matriculating into all of the good areas of the town. So now you are a target just like anybody else who was living in the bad part of town would be a target. You've got to start taking your ability to protect yourself seriously because it's only going to get worse because they're continuing to enact these policies which incentivizes this type of behavior. So mark my words, if you don't take anything from me, take this. Go out and buy a gun. Buy a gun. Learn to use it responsibly, learn to use it safely, train with that gun, and specifically train with that gun in the type of situation you think you might find yourself in if somebody were to attack you. Because trust me, will not get any better. Things are only going to get worse. And I hate to be all doom and gloom, but I can see the writing on the wall. So take me as the canary in the coal mine, or take this video as the canary in the coal mine. At a certain point within the next few years, if you don't have the ability to protect yourself, you are literally just going to become a victim. And speaking of which, if you do decide to get a firearm to protect yourself, also consider getting a membership like USCCA, which will provide you concealed carry insurance. Because even though things may get worse, it doesn't change the fact that a lot of these politicians and a lot of these left-leaning DAs and prosecutors won't try to charge you or convict you for protecting your life, especially some of the people who live in cities and states where they hate firearms. They hate the 2A for all intents and purposes. So they would love to make an example out of you to dissuade more people from getting firearms to protect themselves. But when you have a membership like USCCA, you are now in a position to not only be able to defend yourself effectively, but it will substantially mitigate the amount of money that you would need in order to fight a case if it were to come down to that. So if you want to learn more about a membership with USCCA, I'm going to put a link in the description section of this video. And don't forget to like, share, and comment. Share this video specifically, especially for the people out there who do drive Uber or Lyft, because more people have to understand that this is going to happen more often. And be sure to click the subscribe button. And also don't forget to join the YouTube membership. If you don't know what YouTube membership is, it's another way for you all to support the channel and what we do for the 2A. There are 3 membership levels. There is the I'm the Militia, there is the Pew Pew Life, and then there's the Ammosexuals. And each group has its own benefits and perks. So if you also want to learn more about YouTube memberships, I'm going to put a link in the description section of the video as well. Guns aren't political. That's why I need your help getting this message to spread on YouTube by clicking the thumbs up button, leaving a comment to let me know what you think of the video, then subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, click that bell symbol. For products featured in this video, click the links in the description.